most people don't realize your skin isn't just aging on the outside, it's responding to what's happening inside. And what's happening inside is deeply shaped by 5 specific foods. Foods that might seem harmless, even healthy, but are quietly stirring up inflammation, hormone imbalances, and blood sugar spikes. And when that happens, it doesn't just show up in your digestion or your energy levels. It starts to show on your face in the form of dryness, sagging lines that deepen almost overnight. Now, if you've ever caught your reflection in the morning light and thought, wow, when did I start looking so tired? You are not alone. And you're not imagining things either. The texture of your skin, the way it heals, how firm or thin it feels, that's not just age. It's not just the weather or lack of moisturizer. It's chemistry, internal chemistry. In this video, we're going to explore 5 foods that are strongly linked to what researchers now call inflamed aging. That's the slow-burning chronic inflammation that builds up as we get older, and it doesn't just make you feel older, it makes you look older too. We'll break down exactly how these foods trigger this process, and more importantly, what small practical changes you can make starting today. And stick around because one of the foods we'll discuss is something most people eat when they're trying to be healthy, but it may actually be speeding up skin aging from the inside out. Let's start with one of the most well-known culprits, and yet it still sneaks into our diets in surprising ways: sugar. Now, I'm not here to tell you that sugar is evil or that you can never enjoy a treat again. Life is meant to be enjoyed. But what you do deserve to know is how sugar behaves once it's inside your body, especially if you're over 60. The moment sugar enters your bloodstream, it doesn't just provide energy, it also begins a reaction with the proteins in your body. This is called glycation. In simple terms, glycation is when sugar molecules latch onto proteins like collagen and elastin, the very building blocks that keep your skin firm and youthful. When that happens, it forms what scientists call advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. And yes, that acronym is pretty fitting. AGEs stiffen your collagen, make it brittle, and speed up the breakdown of your skin's support structure. There's a study published in the British Journal of Dermatology that found people with higher levels of AGEs in their bloodstream had noticeably more wrinkles and sagging, even if their actual age was the same as someone else's. Meaning, how much sugar you eat may be more powerful than the number of candles on your birthday cake. And it's not just about candy or desserts. Many seniors I've spoken to are surprised to learn that their morning toast, low-fat yogurt, or healthy granola bars can be loaded with hidden sugars. Even savory foods like pasta sauce or canned soup can snack in sugar under names like maltodextrin dextrose or corn syrup. So it's not just what tastes sweet, it's what spikes your blood sugar and fuels that glycation process. But here's the good news. The skin is incredibly responsive. When you reduce sugar intake and stabilize your blood sugar by choosing whole foods, eating more fiber, and spacing meals, well, your collagen starts to rebuild. I've seen folks in their 70s and even 80s notice smoother, healthier looking skin in as little as 6 to 8 weeks after making some gentle changes. One woman in her mid-60s who had been struggling with dry, sagging skin despite using expensive creams simply cut out her afternoon soda and swapped her morning cereal for eggs and berries. 6 weeks later, her daughter actually asked if she'd done something to her face. She hadn't, she just changed her fuel. Now, sugar may be the star villain, but it's far from the only one. Because what often happens is that once we reduce sugar, we naturally reach for something else to fill the gap. And for many people, that something else is dairy. Now, before anyone panics, let me be clear, dairy affects people differently. Some folks can enjoy a glass of milk or a bit of cheese and have no problem at all. But for others, especially as we age and our enzyme level change, dairy can become more inflammatory than nourishing. See, many adults over 60 begin to lose the ability to digest lactose efficiently. That's the sugar found in milk. When that happens, Dairy can cause low-grade inflammation in the gut, which then leaks into the bloodstream. And guess where that inflammation shows up first? The skin. Dermatologist Dr. Whitney Bowe explains that for people sensitive to dairy, it can lead to increased oil production, clogged pores, and a breakdown in the skin barrier. And while we often think of acne as a teenage problem, many older adults, especially postmenopausal women and men, over 65 report late-onset skin issues tied to dairy. But even beyond, acne inflammation from dairy can subtly accelerate collagen loss, leading to looser, thinner skin over time. That doesn't mean you need to give up your favorite foods completely. In fact, one of the best things you can do is test it out for yourself. Try removing cow's milk and traditional dairy products for 3 to 4 weeks and see how your skin responds. Many people find that switching to unsweetened almond oat or goat milk makes a huge difference, not just in their digestion, but in their skin tone and texture. The puffiness fades, the dry patches improve, wrinkles seem less pronounced. And again, it's not about deprivation, it's about observation. You're not just changing what you eat, you're listening to how your body speaks to you. And your skin, that's often the first voice you'll hear. Now that we've touched on two of the big players, sugar and dairy, it's time to look at something that many folks don't even think twice about what's in your sandwich. But I'll save that for just a moment because I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever noticed a change in your skin after eating something sweet or creamy? Let me know in the comments below. Your story might inspire someone else. And if you're finding this helpful so far, feel free to tap the like button so we can keep spreading knowledge that helps us all age with strength, beauty, and grace. Ready to dig deeper? Because what's between those two slices of bread might be doing more than just raising your cholesterol. It could be aging your skin from the inside out. I'm talking about processed meats. Think deli slices, sausages, hot dogs, even that lean turkey you might pick up, thinking it's a better option. Now, don't worry, I'm not here to ruin anyone's picnic. But it's worth knowing what's really going on with these foods once they hit your plate. Most processed meats are preserved using nitrates and nitrites, which help keep the color pink and the shelf life long. But when those nitrates are exposed to high heat, like when you pan fry or grill a sausage, they can form something called nitrosamines. These are compounds that researchers have found to be both inflammatory and damaging to cells, including the ones in your skin. Here's why that matters. Inflammation isn't always visible right away. You might not feel bloated or achy, but that silent inflammation can break down collagen, slow healing, and increase oxidative stress in your skin. According to a study published in the journal Clinical Interventions, in aging people who consumed high amounts of processed meats had significantly higher markers of systemic inflammation, and those same people also showed greater signs of skin aging and dryness. But it's not just the preservatives. Processed meats are often high in sodium, and as we get older, our skin becomes less efficient at holding on to moisture. Salt pulls water from your tissues, including the layers of your skin, leaving it looking dull, thin, and crappy. You know that feeling when your face feels tighter, but not in a good way? That's often dehydration mixed with inflammation, and sodium can be a major trigger. I remember speaking with a retired teacher in her early 70s who loved making ham sandwiches every afternoon. She thought she was eating light, just a slice of ham on wheat bread with a pickle. But she was also noticing new creases around her eyes and a lack of firmness that her moisturizer just couldn't seem to fix. Once she switched to grilled chicken or tuna with avocado instead and added more fresh greens on the side, she started to see her skin regain some of its softness and bounce. And more importantly, she felt better, less puffy, less stiff, and far more in control of her aging process. Now, while we're talking about cooking methods, let's talk about something else that might be robbing your skin of its vitality: fried foods. Whether it's crispy chicken French fries or even tempura vegetables, frying causes something pretty damaging to happen on a chemical level. It's called the Maillard reaction. This is what gives browned foods their color and flavor, but it also produces advanced glycation end products, those AGEs we talked about earlier. These AGs don't just form when sugar binds to protein inside your body, they also form during high heat cooking, especially frying. And when you eat them, your body absorbs them. In fact, a study published in the Journal of the American Dietetic Association found that people who consume diets high in fried or grilled foods had 25 to 50% more circulating AGEs in their bloodstream compared to those who ate more boiled or steamed meals. That's a big deal, because once AGEs enter your system, they don't just float around harmlessly, they bind to receptors in your skin and tissues, triggering inflammation, damaging collagen, and even stiffening blood vessels, making it harder for your skin to get the oxygen and nutrients it needs. Here's the kicker: you don't even need to be eating deep-fried foods daily for this to affect you. Even things like toasting bread to a dark crisp, microwaving processed meats, or constantly reheating oils on the stovetop can contribute to your body's age burden over time. The good news: you don't need to give up flavor. You can still enjoy the crunch and warmth of comfort foods by switching up your cooking methods. Try air roasting, baking, or pan sauteing with a little water or broth. Use fresh herbs, citrus, and vinegar to punch up flavor without charring the food. Your skin will thank you, and so will your heart. Speaking of which, let's move to a final piece of this inflammation puzzle: refined carbohydrates. I know we touched on sugar already, but refined carbs are a sneaky extension of that story. These are your white breads, pasta, crackers, pastries, anything made from white flour or heavily processed grains. They might not taste sweet, but inside your body, they act almost the same way sugar does. Here's what happens when you eat refined carbs. They're broken down very quickly into glucose, spiking your blood sugar and insulin levels. This surge tells your body to go into storage mode, hello belly fat, but it also increases inflammation, triggers oil production, and promotes the breakdown of collagen. In short, it fast-forwards the aging process from multiple angles. Dr. Nicholas Perricone, a dermatologist known for his work on anti-inflammatory diets, has long called refined carbs the #1 enemy of youthful skin. He explains that this type of carbohydrate overload not only accelerates wrinkles, but also increases puffiness, dullness,